Hello, hello, and good evening. It's so good to have you on board. I'm Lucy Wawero, taking you through this wonderful program of Rays of Hope, where we inspire hope, resilience, and courage. Hope, resilience, and courage. So it's so good to have you on board. Please remember that you can stream live on YouTube and on Facebook, CAC TV Kenya. CAC TV Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. Tonight, we are very excited to be hosting a very wonderful guest who will be helping us, deal with this topic of the day that is very important for all of us. For you're either already there, or you're heading there, or you are caring for someone who is already at that stage in life. So today we are discussing the topic of caring for seniors and caregivers. Caring for seniors and caregivers. So you can call a few people. You can just alert them that there's something happening on CAC TV right now. Wonderful. Duta.
Yes.
So good to have you on board.
Thank you.
Thank you for making time to be with us.
Thank you.
Kindly say hello to the viewer.
Hello, viewers. Good evening. I'm glad to be here.
And your name?
My name is Duta Nyoro Kaden.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Duta Nyoro. So good to have you. And as usual, before we, engage with the topic of the day, would like to start with a Bible verse. A Bible verse. And today we are reading from John 9 and verse 25. John 9 and verse 25. And I read, "He answered, 'Whether he is a sinner, I do not know. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see.'" I read that again. I'm reading from John 9 and verse 25. John 9 and verse 25. "He answered, 'Whether he is a sinner, I do not know. One thing I do know, that though I was blind, now I see.'" This happens to be one of your favorite verses. Why so?
I think I just like the background to the story is that Jesus heals this blind man and people don't seem to believe, and they keep asking him, "Why are you blind?" And they even ask his parents, "Was this your son that was blind?" And finally he's like exasperated, frustrated, and he says, "Whether he's the Son of God or not, I do not know. All I know is I was blind and now I see." And it just goes to show that sometimes you have to stand on a principle, regardless of what other people think or say. What do you believe? This guy believed, "I don't know what these guys say. I don't know why you keep asking me. I was blind and now I see."
Like, I don't even care about the politics.
Right.
There.
The drama.
The drama.
Yes.
Just,
all I know is this.
That I was blind, but now I see. And that's all that matters.
Wow.
Where God sees me now. What happened in the past, I really don't care, but now I see.
Wow.
Yes.
And it's between me and God.
Yeah, correct, exactly.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful. So first things first.
Yes.
Karibu nyumbani.
Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Wow. So you've just been here for maybe less than a week.
I've been here for about 4 days, actually.
For 4 days.
I'm surprised I'm not dozing off right now, jet lagged. Yes,
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
It's so good to have
Thank
you. And
you.
that's why I said we really appreciate that you could, find time
Yes.
of your busy schedules
Yes.
to be with us. So how is the States? I mean, how long have you been in the States? What do you do there? We'll be glad to know.
Right. I live in the wonderful state of Oregon, and a lot of people don't know where Oregon is. I actually didn't know where it was before I went there. Oregon is a state between Washington and California. That's Oregon. It's called the Pacific Northwest. I've been there for about 20 maybe 21 years now.
Wow.
And I'm a nurse. I am a psychiatric nurse, or that's my specialty. It's also called behavioral health nurse or mental health nurse. And I've been a nurse for about 13 years now. Yes.
Oh, that's
yes, as a
something.
mental health nurse. So a total of about 14 years.
Oh,
yes.
that's a very specific specialization.
Yes. Nurses are trained in the US. You're trained for everything: ICU, mother, baby, delivery, everything, and then you specialize. But I've been so fascinated by the mind and how the brain works. So I specialized in psychiatry, which is the mental health part of nursing.
Wow.
Yes.
And nursing and the training thereof in the US is quite intensive?
It's quite intensive. So there's 3 types of nursing in the US really fast. There's LPN, that's a licensed practice nurse, and that's just a year's training. Then there's the RN, that's an associate for 2 years, and then there's a bachelor's, which is a 4-year program. So you can be a nurse for a year, for a year's training, or you can be a nurse for 2 years training or a 4-year training. So I happen to have the bachelor's training as a nurse, but I've also done I have a master's in public health too. Yes.
Okay, so that's why your titles have MPH, BSN, and RN.
Correct.
Can you take that again?
All right.
MPH, BSN, and RN.
All right. So the highest degree is a master's degree, which is my master's degree in public health. And then my nursing degree is in, my nursing degree is a bachelor's degree. Like I said, not everybody gets a bachelor. You can have a licensed practical nurse or just an RN associate. So they're called LPN, and when a person says they're an RN, you have to ask them, it's only the initials which will show you. So if it's just RN, then you know that person went to school for just 2 years. If it's RN, BSN, or BS, then they've had at least a 4-year training. So I have a bachelor's in nursing and a master's in public health, but I'm a registered nurse at the bottom. That's the bottom of the line.
First of all, then, congratulations. Cumulatively, that takes quite
thank you.
some time.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
Yes, it does.
Because the bachelor's, you're saying, takes like 4 years.
4 years.
So then the master's.
Took me about 3-4 years. Yes.
Then the RN.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So again, we're just very glad to have you here. So we're talking about caring for seniors and caregivers.
Yes.
So I might be sitting here thinking, maybe I'm a senior.
Yes.
So who are seniors that we are referring to here?
You're definitely not a senior, even though I won't ask you your age, because you don't ask women their age in public. But we define, at least in the US, seniors are defined as anybody 65 and above. And the US actually appreciates seniors because that's the time they start receiving their medical benefits from the government called Medicare. So once you're 65 years old, you automatically get into the medical health system. So anyway, and there are some other things about seniors, like they have discounts on certain days in stores. So a senior is 65 years and above.
Well, not so different, I guess, from where we are at. 65. Although you find some people, maybe here, maybe it's marked by retirement or something like that, retirement age.
Yes.
You find maybe some civil servants, maybe they retire from 55.
Okay.
You find people retiring at 60.
Yes.
Others 65. So it's not
almost
so
the same.
different.
Not so different. Yeah.
It's almost the same.
Right.
So why do we need to think about caring for seniors? Why is it so important?
Like I said, I'm a psychiatric nurse, and I think one of my passions, the passions of my heart, is older people. And the older we get, the more we have lots of comorbidities. That's illnesses and pains and aches, and then they become, hypertension, diabetes, arthritis, gout. But one of the forgotten areas, I feel, I could be wrong, is dementia. And I have been feeling the passion to teach people about dementia and how to take care of people with dementia. And for us, as we all age, because we will all age at some point, I don't know if you want me to, at this point, to say what dementia is or isn't.
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
Because you've already told us that they are, you call them comorbidities.
Yes.
So the older you get,
yes,
you are prone.
You're
somehow.
prone to, your health deteriorates. Not always.
Not always.
Because for some of us who keep our health well by exercise and good diet, as we grow old, our bodies will be all right. But by default, our bodies are meant to deteriorate. So how they deteriorate depends on many ways. So is it the brain? Is it your bones? Is it your skin? Is it your eyes? Is it your ears? So that's how we will.
So hence the need to take care of seniors.
Yes.
Because maybe they're more vulnerable.
That's right.
They're more prone to these issues.
Yes.
Then I also want us to look, before we go to dementia and the like, the caregivers.
Yes.
Why are they also important?
Because caregiving is not easy. All doctors and nurses and orderlies and anybody who takes care of anybody, whether it's a child, nannies, or as we call them here, house girls, those are caregivers. And caregivers to me is a very, what's the word? It's a job that should be revered. Because that's a person who is taking care of somebody else. So caregivers need to take care of themselves also, even as they care for other people. And I think it's an important point to note that as you give care as a caregiver, please take care of yourself first. Yes, yes.
Wow. And we'll, as we talk about dementia and the like, then I think we'll also talk about caregivers in that sphere,
Yes,
in that space,
that particular,
because I think that's also special.
Yes.
Because I've had experience with friends,
Yes.
and the like, and it can be draining.
It can be very draining, especially emotionally.
Yes.
Yes, and physically too.
And physically
yes.
too. So let's get to the bottom of the issue then.
Okay.
Dementia. What is dementia?
So I will say let me start by saying what dementia is not. Because most people, if you were to ask them, they would think dementia is, I think most people understand dementia is forgetting, when people start forgetting.
Wow, that's what we think generally.
Correct. But dementia is an umbrella name of many diseases. There is a prefrontal cortex dementia, there is vascular dementia, there is Lewy body dementia, and the most common, Alzheimer's. And I didn't used to know the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's until I learned it's an umbrella name for all these illnesses. And there are people who actually get dementia when they get HIV. So what's dementia? Dementia is when there's some proteins that get into the brain and get into the cartilage, and without going into a lot of pathophysiology, they eat up some of the neurons in our brains. And so we who have afflicted by that disease can no longer think through things that we used to. So we are not as our brains don't enable us to do the things that we used to do before. Yeah, basically that is it. And then I want to say that dementia is not necessarily a disease of the old people.
Oh, that's what we think.
I want everybody to know just because you're growing older does not mean you're headed for dementia. Dementia is also not contagious or infectious. And dementia is not necessarily hereditary. So just because my grandmother had dementia does not necessarily mean that somebody in my family will have it too. So I would like to remove those myths. So dementia, to answer your question, is what we call a major neurocognitive disorder. It is actually no longer being called dementia these days. I think starting last year, 2022, because dementia used to denote older people. So now it's being called major neurocognitive disorder, which major means big, neuro means our brains, cognitive means to do with the brain, and of course a disorder is an illness or a disease, which means it's a disease that's affecting the brain. And it's no longer the disease of old people, because we have people as young as 40s, unfortunately, and 50s having dementia. So that is what dementia is and what dementia is not.
Is not. Thank you for
clarifying
and demystifying that.
Correct.
And actually helping us to know that it's not necessary for old people.
Yes.
And I think to a large extent people, get to fear when they have people in their families who have gone through that. So they think maybe it's hereditary, therefore when they grow older they'll get it. They'll get it. So what are the characteristics of someone suffering from?
Right, so the symptoms, I think we all know that the forgetfulness. And I want to clarify with that too. So I might forget where I kept my car keys or my phone. But I'll probably retrace my steps and remember. A person with dementia will not remember that. So that's the difference. Another thing, symptom of people who suffer from dementia are that they are no longer able to follow through with their thoughts. So we'll be speaking as we are talking, and then I'll lose track. Now, I could forget a word and I could say, I was trying to say this word, but then it will come to me. A person with dementia may actually, it goes, and will not come back. Another reason is that they misplace things, and I want to say when they misplace things, they actually accuse people of stealing. And they'll get very mad because that phone which I've misplaced, I'll accuse you of stealing it. They are also not able to do things that require cognitive functions like pay bills. So you'll find that a person has been paying all their bills, has been writing letters, has been doing, and then they forget to pay things like bills. They'll forget to do things that to make calls. They make us, you know, if they're supposed to go to the hospital or forget today's Sunday and we need to go to church, they'll forget things that are really important. And actually one of the ways you know someone is really forgetting things, it's not just the misplacement of things, it's when a person forgets things you think they should not forget. For instance, asking us somebody, so what are the names, how many children do you have? What are their names? And a person cannot remember the names of their children. That's not something you expect someone to forget. So those are some of the symptoms. They'll even forget eating. I was just telling some people somewhere that you can place food there in front of them. They are hungry. They recognize this as food, but they forget to pick, or they'll pick, put it in their mouth and forget to chew. Now you and I may not understand how can you forget to chew and the food is in your mouth. But remember, our brain controls our actions. So that's how they may forget to do things. Or they'll forget to tie shoelaces. So this is something, their fingers just forget how to tie that lace, that ribbon, how to comb their hair. A remote control. This person has been watching TV all their lives. You'll give them the remote control, they can't remember which button.
They don't know what to do with it.
They have no idea what button to press. So little things like those. Another way, I think, thing that they do is they wander a lot. And they'll leave their homes, go to wherever, to a store, even buy the sugar they'd gone to buy, start retracing their steps and completely forget the way home. And woe unto them, unfortunately, if they are driving. They will completely drive the opposite direction. And this is somebody who has always lived in this home for 50 years, but he or she cannot now find their way home. So those are some of the symptoms that when you recognize this person is not quite themselves. Yes.
And you've brought in the issue of things that we don't expect people to like forget or disconnect from. So otherwise, misplacing my phone is not mentioned.
I forgot my phone too, and I can't remember where I put it. Sometimes I have to ask someone else to call. That's not dementia. But if you did ask me, what's your name? Or if it's somebody I know. For instance, if tomorrow we meet in the corridors and I have completely forgotten your name, it could be two reasons. Well, I can't remember if you're Lucy or you're Mercy. But when my face goes blank, like I've never met you.
That's serious.
Yes. Which reminds me, the other thing is they repeat questions. So you will say, for instance, if I was a person with dementia and we just had some breakfast at 8, at 10 o'clock, I'll ask you, wait, did we just eat breakfast? And you will say yes. And you'll ask me again, did we eat breakfast? And you will say yes, and they'll keep repeating the same question because to them it's the first time they are asking that question and they've completely forgotten. Yes.
So it's like they have never
asked that question and they cannot remember what they ate. And one last thing, another symptom, they remember things that happened recently. They do not remember things that happened recently. So if you ask them, what did you eat for dinner? It's 8 o'clock, what did you eat for supper? She cannot recall. But if you asked her, wait, in 1978, where were you? Tell me about where you were born. She'll give you the whole history, but she cannot remember current events right now.
Well, and that's a frustrating thing then.
Yes.
Even for family members.
Exactly.
Because they just can't remember the things that you find very important. Because maybe those year 70s, I mean, their children were young and everything. They want them to remember the things that are happening. And they can't.
And they cannot.
And it's so why is that? That it's just the way the neurons and all that.
It's just the way the neurons react, and so for some reason they can't. So the problem is that the neurons help to retain. Neurons help to retain information. So today I can tell you where I came from, this morning, how I woke up and what I did, what I ate, how I arrived here. But their neurons, because they die and are dead and are not there, there's no information retained. So they cannot retain current information. Yes, that's a problem. And I want to say, the neurons I have right now are not the neurons I was born with. Some have died, and so have you, I'm sorry to say.
So that's a natural thing?
It's a natural progression.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, these neurons cannot be replaced. It's like pulling a tooth. If one of my teeth fell out today, it can be replaced. I'm over that age of the tooth growing back. So these neurons cannot be replaced. Once they die, they die. And doctors don't quite know why it happens to some people, where some people are predisposed and some are not. It just happens.
It just happens.
Yes, to some and not to others. Yeah.
Now, talking about, repeating things, that's a common thing.
Very common.
For people with dementia.
Yes.
I think it's good you've raised that as a symptom to
Yes,
watch
yes.
when someone or a parent maybe keeps asking their children,
Yes.
what's your name? Every time. Or you go out and when you're coming back, they ask you again.
Correct.
What's your name?
Yes.
And thank you for clarifying that.
Yes.
Maybe looking for your keys when you're holding them.
That's not necessarily.
That's not too bad.
right, yes.
Because people start thinking,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
I am getting there now.
Yes.
I'm getting there now.
Yeah, that's not it. That's normal.
Wow.
Yes.
Caring for seniors and caregivers. I believe we are learning. We're learning and taking notes. So I would allow us to, grab a glass of water. We take a short break, but please don't go away. Please don't go away. We're getting now where we want to get to. We want to understand then how do we deal with this situation, and then how do we take care of ourselves. So please don't go away. We are taking a very short break. We will be right back.
John Maxwell once said, "A reader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." Simply put, readership is all about vision and influence. Join me, Robert Waihenya Goge, the Secretary General of the Presbyterian Church of East Africa, every first Monday of the month from 8 p.m. as we microscopically look at the reality, specificity, and simplicity of leadership only on CAC TV. Specificity.
Uongozini, a show by the leader, for the leader.
Welcome back, and we're glad that you're still keeping it CAC TV. This show today is very, very educative because it touches us in different ways. We know someone who is suffering from, dementia. Maybe we are in it. Okay, maybe we may not know we are in it. Yeah, but at least maybe we are caregivers, and I can see already some comments coming in, about people saying they are caring for their relatives, maybe for their parents. So this is quite educative, and today we're discussing dementia within the larger topic of caring for seniors and caregivers. And our guest here, Dr. Nyoro, I don't want to attempt the other name because there's a way you're putting it.
That's okay.
And I don't want
okay.
to. Yeah, so she has taken us in the first part of the show, just in case you've just joined us. She's been able to demystify this, define for us what dementia is, that it's really an umbrella name for a number of conditions, and that seniors, in this case, for the sake of our discussion, we're talking about people who are 65 and above. So we're glad that you're following, and would like you to drop in some messages, comments. CAC TV Kenya on Facebook and CAC TV Kenya on YouTube. Let us know where you are watching from and whether this is helpful. And should you have a question, she's here. She is here. This is her specialization. So she's here to help all of us. So we're back.
Okay.
So having defined what dementia is, then how should we treat people with dementia?
Right, and I think this is a core of dementia itself. And I think maybe I should start with how not to treat them. And one of the things I want to say is what not to say. So we just talked about people repeating questions. So I'll give the example of, breakfast. So you're asking me, assuming I'm a person with dementia, or I'm assuming a person with dementia asking you, did we just eat breakfast? So one of the things we shouldn't do, or we shouldn't say is, don't you remember? Did you remember I just told you? How many times do you want me to tell you? We just had breakfast. Actually, you ate 3 slices of bread.
Yeah.
Or somebody comes and says, oh, I am Duta, and I'm looking like I'm singing for the first time. Duta, where from? Come on, don't you remember me? So don't ask them if they remember. Because, number one, it's not their fault that they don't remember.
Yeah.
Number two, it just embarrasses them, and it may also make them upset. And one of the other things that could do is because most people with dementia at a certain point don't know they have dementia, but at a certain point, at the beginning, they can tell something is wrong with them.
Yeah.
So if they find that people are asking them, don't you remember, they realize, oh, I'm forgetting a lot of these things. I think I shouldn't be talking to people. So they clam up.
Oh.
And that's a bad thing. They start isolating. So the other thing, instead of asking them, don't you remember, my name is Duta, we went to school with you, or I'm your grandchild, or I'm your daughter, just remind her. Tell her, oh, I am so-and-so from so-and-so, and I'm here to do such and such. Don't ask them if they remember. Another thing is, don't correct them. So if this person has dementia, and this is my shosho or my uncle, whoever, my mom, and I go home and she confuses me for my sister. She's not signing a will. She's not writing a check. I just went to visit. If she calls me my sister, I could say, oh, hi, Mom. Or hi, Shosho. Or hi, Susan, my friend. This is Duta, and keep going. Even if she keeps referring to me as Lucy, just keep going. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Another thing we should not do is argue with them. If that person says this is a soda, and I know it's water, what difference does it make?
Take it to be a soda.
Take it to be a soda. Don't argue with them, because they can get very upset. And sometimes they can get very aggressive. And if you find that they're getting aggressive, don't exacerbate the aggression. We know of people who they'll kill you. They can even kill you because whatever is there, they'll just take it and hit. Because remember, their brains have no bricks. They have no boundaries like you and I. If I got annoyed with you right now, protocol tells me the proper thing is not to throw this bottle at you, right?
Yeah, sure.
but they will throw that bottle at you. So think of it like a kid with a gun. It doesn't matter if it's a 3-year-old,
No.
as long as your finger is
they
on that
can pull the
trigger,
trigger.
and they'll kill you. So move away, keep safety, let them be.
Yeah.
So don't argue with them, don't correct them, don't ask them, don't remember me. And I mean, don't you remember what I just said? How many times do you want me to tell you? And another thing, which is a little tricky here, so I'll be careful saying this, is if they think a loved one is still with them, let them keep thinking that. And I'll clarify this. For instance, I have a grandmother right now. Her husband died years ago. She does not have dementia. But if I went there and she said, go tell your guka to come and let's eat.
Yeah.
If I know this woman has dementia, then it means the fact that she's asking for her husband or her child who's dead, it means they're not remembering.
Yeah, not remembering.
So that's not the point or the time to tell them, hey, don't you remember your husband died 30 years ago? Or you lost your daughter, Susan, 10 years ago. Just go with the flow and say, okay, I'll probably look for her. But right now, let's do this. And it distracts them. Because remember, they don't remember. However, the thing I want to say about that is, let's say the same person, let's say it's my grandmother, asks me, where did your grandfather die? Is my husband dead? So at that point, and to finish, let me first finish the first one. The reason you don't want to keep telling them he died is because the fact that they've forgotten, you're reminding them, and it will upset them. And that's not a good thing. Who knows what they'll do? So divert the conversation. But if they ask directly, did my child die? Then at that point say, yes, they did. They died last year from COVID. And yes, and then try and divert the conversation to something else. So those are things you should not do. But the things you should do, like I said, well, part of the things you shouldn't do is what you should do instead. If they are wandering and walking in the house, for those of us who have a gate, lock the gate, let them wander. As long as the place is safe, they're within the compound. Let's say you live in a place where there is no compound or a gate, and they can wander in the house. Let them wander in the house as long as it's safe. Make sure there is no fall risks around. Give them their space. If this person wants to go into the room and sit there, you don't have to be there with them all the time. Another thing is, remember I said when you give them food and they can't eat, don't keep telling them, sit down at the table and eat.
Yeah, it's getting cold.
It's getting cold. This ugali is getting cold. The point is, at this point, you just want her or him to eat, right?
Yeah, you just want them to be healthy.
To be healthy.
Yeah.
And because you know they forget to eat, don't force them to sit down. In fact, they'll be upset at you, throw things at you, call you names, and it's a whole hula baloo now. Give them finger foods. Give them that chapati. They can walk around eating that chapati. Give them that banana. Give them bagederi that's, without the soup. So what if they spill? In other words, give them the nutrition they need without necessarily forcing them to do things. If it's time to take a bath, don't force, and she doesn't want to go take a bath or brush her teeth. It's not a big deal. Nobody ever died from not taking a bath. Leave the person alone. Maybe an hour later, come back and try. So those are some of the things that, and one more very important thing I'd love to say is don't isolate them. If I have dementia, and I used to go to church, for example, don't leave me home. Please take me to church with you. Now, I could go to church with you and sit, and then after some time, I wander off. So get up and follow me. And on that note, I wanted to say, when they wander, you can follow them at a distance.
At a distance. Just give them their space.
To give them their space and to walk, it's exercise. And don't pull them back. Come back here. Unaenda wapi? Pull them back. Sorry. Don't pull them back. Follow them at a distance to make sure they are safe. And then on that note, I'd just like to say to people, if you know somebody who looks lost on the streets, whether it's in the village or in the estates, take time, please, to, especially if you look at the age and you think they're in that age group and they look like they're wandering, if you know that person, of course, take them back home.
Yeah.
If you don't find a way to find out who their family is and have them get back home, because that's how they fall into ditches, that's how they get crushed by cars. In the US, that's how they get, you know, die from cold or overheat, strokes and such stuff. So be cognizant of the fact that a person is wandering and they look lost. Yes, and of course, remember, don't ask, are you lost? They don't even understand that, you know. Find a way to make sure that this person is not lost. You can ask them, what's your name? Where is your home? And you'll be able to tell. If they can't answer those questions, then something is the matter. That's a person that needs help right that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's deep.
Yes.
So people shouldn't leave their relatives like out if they're going maybe even to family gatherings.
Yes.
And they should go.
Yes, absolutely. Let that person, make that person have their lives as normal as possible. Don't isolate them. If they used to go to women's meetings, she'll probably not even understand. If they go to a women's guild, for instance, but she'll sing. But the meeting discussions, she may not understand. But as long as there's somebody, because remember, they are human beings, and you're trying to keep them as dignified as possible.
Sure.
Yes,
Sure.
yes. Wow. Which reminds me, the other symptom that they do is they will go to the bathroom, they'll void on themselves. Because remember, the rest of us who have normal brain, when we feel the urge to go to the bathroom, what do?
We know where to go.
We know where to go. We stand up and go. But this person's brain, that part of the brain which controls that function is gone. So they'll be sitting here, and the next thing you'll see is they're urinating on themselves. Please don't get angry at them, because remember, if they were normal, just like if they were normal, they wouldn't do that. So just like a child, we don't beat kids because they've pooped or peed on themselves. So take that person and take them away. Which reminds me, the other point of aggression. When they become aggressive, find out what's making them aggressive, just like the child.
So it could be a way of communicating.
Yes. Remember, they can no longer say what they want to say. So they could be hungry. Exactly just like a little baby. When babies are uncomfortable, what do?
They'll cry.
So these ones won't cry, and some do, by the way. They could cry. So it could be they're being aggressive because they are hungry or thirsty, they are wet, they are in pain. And this is where, if you knew that I had back pain all my life, or before I got dementia, I had knee pain, this is the time to talk to a doctor and find out what pain medication can be given to her as she grows older, because you know I will not be able to say, hey, Dr. Lucy, I have pain in my knees or my back hurts. So if I start behaving funnily, elderly, even with my dementia, then maybe I'm in pain. So if you try the food and I don't want food, if you check me out and I'm fine, the bathroom areas, then maybe I'm in pain. That's time to give me the pain medication.
So basically, you just have to treat this person as a baby.
Yes.
That you speak for them, you pick things, you pick their language.
Yes, I don't want to say treat them like a baby. I want to say treat them as the adult they are. But I was just giving the comparison of a baby, as we don't get angry or scold or beat babies when they do X, Y, Z. If they're eating and they spill the food, we don't beat a child for doing that. Clean it up. So treat them as the adults they are, with the dignity they deserve. But remember, their brains are no longer the brains they used to have. So when they do odd things, go along with the flow. It's frustrating. It's actually even annoying and very makes you angry, which we'll talk about how to take care of me or you who's taking care of the person. But don't beat them up. I know there was a case of somewhere where older people were being beaten up when they were wandering. I hope those that did that are listening. Let the person walk, and even if you don't want them to go back and bring them back again. Now, for instance, go and ask that person, where are you going? And they'll tell you, I'm going to school.
Okay. That's what they remember.
Because they remember school. They'll tell you, I'm going to work. And this is an 85-year-old man, and he'll pick his briefcase because he was a banker or a teacher or whatever. I'm going to work. Don't tell them, what do you mean, Mr. Kamau? You're 85 years old. Or they'll say, I'm going to see my mommy. Come on, Mr. Joroge, you are 90 years old. How do you expect to see? No. Say, okay, let's go see your mother. and turn them the opposite
Yeah,
direction.
yeah.
Let's go to school.
Yeah.
Give them a book to read.
Yeah.
If they were readers, give them a newspaper. It doesn't matter. It's upside
Yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Because that's giving them the dignity they deserve, but understanding that they're no longer the people they were in their brains. Yeah.
And Miriam, yes, you're following. We can see. And John Minor is saying this is very informative.
Okay.
It's very informative. So, going back now to the medicine part of it. So, are there medicines? Is there treatment that is used maybe to slow the process, or does it even deteriorate, or you just remain at the same level?
No. So that's a very good question. So unfortunately, all kinds of dementia, there is no cure for dementia. Once it starts, it just goes south. And this person will die from dementia, mostly because of infections. However, as you say, there are medications. I know of one medication called Namenda, which slows it down a little bit. And I've seen older people living longer with dementia, and it doesn't bring back the cartilage or the neurons, or but it slows down the damage that the proteins do on the neurons. So it slows down the process. There is no cure for dementia, unfortunately, at least not right now. But there are ways to slow it down, and keeping active, reading, socialization. So one of the things that really makes it bad is isolation. Actually, during the 2 years of COVID in the US, they found out, I don't have the real statistical numbers, but they found out that the cases of dementia really soared because people were in isolation. And that's why I insist, take this person out. Don't bury them just because they don't talk or they can't function. Don't isolate them. So for the rest of us, keeping healthy, even diet, keeping our high blood pressure down or not at all, keeping our diabetes off if we can, and if you have it, trying to maintain it. There is no, so I don't want to say that if I'm eating healthy, that means I will not get dementia. That's not what I'm saying. But it does not hurt to keep a healthy body, because that just keeping our bodies healthy helps sometimes with other aspects of our brains. And remember, people with dementia have absolutely, there's nothing wrong with their bodies from here down. It's all in the mind. So make sure they're hydrated. They'll not ask for water because they can't even find the word water to the sentence, can I have some water? So make sure you're giving them water every now and then, and fruit and vegetables. And so yes, there is no cure for dementia, but there is a medication which slows down. I don't know if we have it here though.
I don't know.
That's a conversation for you as a family members to have with the doctor.
With the doctor.
Yes. Yes, with the family doctor.
Let's talk about the caregivers, because
yes,
the way it seems,
yes,
it's the caregiver really to think through, to see what to do, really to take care of this adult.
Correct.
As an adult,
as
you
an
reminded
adult.
us.
Yes.
But just knowing that they don't have that capacity to process things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like I said, caregiving is difficult. And you should acknowledge that taking care of this person is difficult, especially if it's a family member. So you need to take care of yourself, and this is how you need to take care of yourself. First of all, your body should be healthy, because you're the one running around, walking this person, cooking, cleaning them, bathing them. So you should be healthy yourself by eating well, sleeping well. Another thing that I tell people is, please accept help and ask for help.
Accept,
ask and accept. If I have 3 siblings, for instance, I'm the oldest in my family, and old firstborns usually feel like it's they have to carry the whole world on their shoulders. But self-care means I should take care of this person. Let's say it's one of my parents, but I should also let the other siblings be part of the caregiving. So if it means having to stay with my mother for the first 3 months, and the next 3 months she goes to her sister, and the other 3 months to her brother, because then that gives me a break to live my life. Because remember, caregivers have a life too. Hire somebody if you can. And make sure you hire somebody that's trustworthy, that's well trained, because again, caregivers who are not family members, and family members unfortunately can take advantage of these people, stealing their things, beating them, and all that kind of stuff. The other thing is, don't isolate yourself also as a caregiver. Oh, I can't go to church because I'm taking care of my mom. Oh, the women are having a meeting, they're going to Mombasa, but I can't go because I'm taking care of my mom. No, that's actually the time you should take this mother to your brother in Nakuru or Mombasa or wherever, so that you can take a break.
And also recharge.
And recharge your emotions. It's okay to get angry. It's okay to get frustrated. Feel what you have to feel. Now, what you do with that feeling is a problem, or is what you should be very careful. Don't, when your mother gets angry because she's dropped all the soup all over the carpet and now you have to clean that carpet, don't slap her. Take a deep breath, accept you're angry, walk away to the bathroom or bedroom, scream. Pull your hair. Oh, no, don't pull your hair.
Don't
okay.
It will be very painful.
That's it. But you can scream, you can talk to a friend, ask for help. And at this point, I'd like to say to the rest of us, if you know someone that's going through this kind of situation, it's very hard for us sometimes to ask for help. So offer help. Go and say, hey, Lucy, I know you take care of your mom. I happen to be off this Saturday afternoon. Do you want me to just come and hang out with your mother while you go do whatever? Or can you bring her to my house and I'll hang out with her, and you can go to the market or just take a walk or just take a nap. So please help people with who are caring for this kind of people. And I don't know, I haven't done my research in Kenya yet, but we have what we call Alzheimer's groups. It doesn't have to be an Alzheimer's association group, but if, say, in a church or a village or any community has 2 or 3 or 4, you don't have to be a big group of people caring for these people with dementia. It might help to be meeting even once a month to talk about the frustrations I'm going through, just as an outlet, because other people don't understand. And talk about it and encourage each other and say, what do you do with your mother when this happens? What do you do with your uncle, your grandmother when this happens? Because exchange of ideas helps us grow, you know. So those are some of the things I would say. Take care of yourself. And lastly, I would say, please get professional help. If you need to talk to somebody and say, look, I'm done, I don't know what to do anymore, go to a counselor. I'm sure there are counselors here in Kenya. Just make an appointment even once a month to debrief, to de-escalate, to cry with this person, but not with, the counselor shouldn't be crying with you, but to cry in front of this person. And the counselors may have options for you, books to read or what to do to help you be able to be resilient. I like what you said, that this program is about resiliency. Sometimes we get so bogged down with taking care of these people. It's hard. So accept it's hard. Feel what you have to feel. Look for help. Ask for help. Don't isolate. Forgive yourself, but at the same time know that you're doing the best you can, and pat yourself sometimes on the back and say, this is a job that is hard, but I'm doing it. Yes.
And especially so when maybe one feels maybe neglected by other siblings, by other families, because it happens.
It does happen
in families that you'd find the burden is maybe on one person and all that. So they need to get an outlet.
Yes, absolutely. Don't be the only person that's taking care of this person if you can. And if the outlet means another sibling, if the outlet means all the siblings hire a caregiver, then that's what should happen. Because it's like me carrying this table all day. By the end of the day, I'm bogged down. So and I think that's where sometimes abuse comes in. Because I'm so stressed out with this person. I've been dealing with this person all day. Plus, I probably work. Plus, I probably have other children. Plus, I have a life. But I have to take care of this person. So I get so upset and so angry. I beat them, or I yell at them, or I scream at them. And that's not a good situation. Take a break. Ask for help. And please, please accept help. Accept help when it comes. Yes.
And I like the part where you said that also offer help. And I think that's what friendship is about.
Correct. Don't neglect your friends.
We want the best for our friends.
Yes.
And we want the best for their families. And so by just offering our time, I think time is the most precious thing you can give to a friend.
Correct.
And I think especially in faith circles.
I agree.
We should be doing this more often.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Offer the help. Don't wait to be asked.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard for us to ask for help.
Yeah.
You know, so please offer the help. Even an hour, I'm telling you.
It makes a difference.
It makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yes. For those of us who have children, toddlers, and we love our children with all our hearts, we would die for them. But sometimes it just helps when they go to Sunday school or when they go to school. Whew,
Yeah.
that's 5 hours out of
Yeah.
my day. I can
Yeah.
do this and this, you know. Same to this person, just even an hour or two, offer to help this person. Even if it's in their own home,
Yeah.
I'll come help you, watch this person while you wash the clothes and you don't have to be worried about
exactly.
them. Yes.
Or even help the person maybe go shopping.
Yes, correct.
Normal things that
Normal
they can't
things,
do
yes.
because they need to be around this person.
Absolutely.
Maybe in a minute, you mentioned Alzheimer.
Alzheimer's, yes.
How is that different from, just for a minute?
So Alzheimer's usually affects people over their 60s, or from 60s and above. So Alzheimer's is just one of the dementias. Remember I said there's Alzheimer's.
It's one of.
Yes. There's Lewy body dementia.
Yeah, yeah.
There's Alzheimer's. There's frontal body. There's temporal. There's vascular dementia where they get the clots. And so Alzheimer's is the most common. And there's one that's really aggressive and it hits them and they even die fast, called I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's like Creutzfeldt-Jacobs disease. It's a sort of it's a part of Alzheimer's. It's a part of dementia. But I also wanted to say one last thing, that people with dementia can last for a long time. They can live up to 20 years after they're diagnosed, depending on how their lifestyle was.
And talking about diagnosis, so doctors can tell which kind of dementia
Yes,
you're
the
having?
doctors will do their MRI or whatever
Yeah.
it is they do and tell and ask a couple of questions,
Yeah.
and they'll be able to tell what kind of dementia that is. Is it progressive? Is it progressing very fast? Is it, remember I said there's dementia from HIV? So a 20-year-old or 25-year-old with HIV, it can go into their brain and they can get dementia. So the doctors will be able to say, to detect that. And if you're not sure, it's good to go to a doctor and find out, is my loved one suffering from dementia? Because we are finding they're forgetting, or they left the stove on, or they didn't lock the door at night. Are they suffering from dementia? And the doctors have questions and tests they do, mostly questions and about this and that, and they can detect or tell or diagnose if the person has dementia or not.
Now, I know contexts are different, but would you say dementia is very prevalent?
Oh, good question. It depends on where. But dementia generally is prevalent with black people, African Americans, and black people, that means Africans, and Native Americans.
That's kind of unfair.
It's kind of unfair, yes, but that's what research has shown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, research is yet to show why then
Yes.
the black
Yes.
race is predisposed to
Yes,
this.
research is yet to show why. In fact, doctors don't really know what causes the real cause of dementia, other than the fact that there's a buildup of these proteins in the axons, in the neurons. But those are and I think the reason we never used to know about it too much in Kenya was because people used to hide these people. And don't use derogatory names when you're referring to them. Don't say, oh, my mother sasa amekuwa mujinga, amekuwa kama mtoto, huyo ni mjinga too. Don't use derogatory names. You can say, just like we don't use derogatory names for people who have eyeglasses. We say, oh, she wears glasses, or she wears hearing aids. Don't call them derogatory names. Say, my mom is sick. She has dementia.
It's a sickness.
It's a disease like any other.
Like any other.
Like any other.
Wow. I want you to take just a minute, face the camera, talk to a caregiver, please. This program is the Rays of Hope.
Yes.
You know, it's about building, and inspiring hope, resilience, and courage.
Yes.
Please speak to them.
So for you, the caregiver, I want to uplift you and thank you for what you're doing. It's hard. It's not easy to take care of this person. It's frustrating. Please own your feelings. Don't feel you're alone. For us who are Christians, then there is God with us. Please seek help. Ask for help. Talk to a doctor. Maybe look for start a group in your little village, in your little estate, in your little area. Reach out and accept help, and just know that you're not alone, and what you're doing is wonderful, and it's a blessing to the person. Even though they don't get it, just know you're doing what is right, and it's a blessing to the person that you're taking care of, and keep it up.
keep it up. That's a very good point to end. But before then, I wrap this up. I have no words to thank you
Yeah.
for taking your precious time to educate us on this very important issue of caring.
Yeah.
And thank you. We've learned, we've tapped from your wisdom, we've tapped from your expertise. And so I want to say, may God bless you so
Thank
much.
you.
May God bless you stay
Yes.
here.
Thank
May
you.
you enjoy every moment.
Thank you.
May you enjoy the holiday.
Thank you.
So keep it up. I think that's where she ended. Whatever it is you're doing, you know, caring for that person, keep it up. You're doing well. That's the best thing to do at this time. And I pray that we shall all, you know, find it in our hearts to offer help.
Yes.
To people who are so bogged down, they're tired, sometimes very frustrated.
Yes.
Because of caregiving. So may we all give a hand wherever we can.
Yes.
May God bless you. Take care. Please don't give up. We say here, keep hope alive. God bless you. God keep you till the next time we meet. God bless.